Grab you a cup of coffee, and today we are going to be talking about taking your child's passion for doing art and turn those into elective classes for homeschool high school. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. If this is your first video in this elective series that we are covering, my name is Leisha. I have been homeschooling for 15 years and been an independent homeschool counselor for 10 years, which means that I don't work under an umbrella school or like under a specific company. I one-on-one work with parents who reach out to us through our channel and through our local homeschool group, and I help them to take classes that their kids need or want to do and turn those into the classes that they have to report to their umbrella school or homeschool to complete their child's homeschooling journey. So today we are going to be talking about those art electives. So I've already entered the title up here and on the title line right here. If this is your first video in this series, we're simply going to be taking a look at how to take, if you're doing all 4 years of art, how to take those, put those in, and continue art all the way through high school. Now, roughly for every track of homeschooling, you need 4 to 6 credits of electives to graduate. Art is a really fun class. I have a couple that have done art and they really enjoyed the class. Today is how to take that and turn it into something a little more if they want to go into a specific college or career that covers like specialty arts, or if they just aren't really musical or they don't need foreign language. Like for the life skills track or the modified track, you don't need foreign language to graduate, and you just want to find some classes that you would both enjoy doing that would help grow your child's experience with art and just be able to have fun with these classes. What we're going to be doing with these classes is we will cover a class name and we'll cover a study. And if you're doing it all 4 years, now some of you I know are probably just going to get ideas for how to plug classes in after you've already done specific amount of classes. You may just be looking for a class here and there to plug in that is art. If you have already started on your track, you don't have to follow this track out for all 4 years. This is for people who are starting out freshman year, 8th grade year. You're looking at, 4 years of high school, and you're just wanting to have a little bit of a base of what's an idea that we can do to give the umbrella school, who I report to, so that I can do this with my child. So that's why we do put it by year, but you can take these classes, pull them out specifically, do them wherever you want to. So for year one, this is a big surprise, you guys. Year one is just simply art. That's it. You're going to be doing an art class. Now, what all is that going to entail? You're going to build a foundation with beginner's concepts, even if your teen already knows how. So this is where you can kind of get fun with this. You can say, okay, well, my child likes doing this kind of art. Maybe I want to introduce them to this kind of art. This is what this class is for. You can either go through any kind of art that you want and are comfortable covering, or you can get a beginner's art book. Every expert in their field, when you're looking at master apprentice teaching style, will always take somebody that already knows what they're doing and still put them back through basics on their first lessons with this new apprentice or this new student. This is just a basic concept. This has been through all cultures, all timelines in our world history. That's how it's taught. So I know with teenagers it's harder. They've got the hormones, they've got the I'm a grown-up, I can do this concept, and I know it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But even if they do already know how to do art on their own, it doesn't hurt to go back. And you can do it in a way like, okay, well, have you tried this technique? Because this technique is similar to what you're already doing. And then do that. And then tell them once they complete it, then they're going to be moving on to that year 2. And once they go on to year 2, that's when they can go into those specialty art classes. So let's cover what some of those are. And these are actual names of classes that you can choose in homeschooling when you're looking at art. So it's not just putting art every year, because I know some states require you to have more of that paperwork and that legwork. And like I've said before in other videos, if you need the extra paperwork and legwork on hands-on classes like art and music, go to Teachers Pay Teachers, go to Google. There is always Pinterest. Find those free classes that you can use. That's a a thing you can hand in to show them, this is how I help to teach my child. You can show them art books that you purchased or were given free that helped your child to be able to grow their art skills during this year. So some of the art specialty classes that are available to homeschoolers are specifically drawing and sketching. So spend an entire year working on the fun thing about this class right here is you could literally, for your hands-on learners that want to do art, you could pull up, if you have Disney Plus, there are so many Disney Plus videos on how the Disney animators start from scratch and make the movies that you see and love. You could look up some of those techniques. Mo Willems that made the Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus. In 2020, he made drawing and sketching videos. You could literally take videos and you could see where they take you through those basic one-on-one steps of how to do drawing and sketching, and then you can move from there. And then again, same thing, painting. Bob Ross, of course. You could pull up so many Bob Ross ones. I'm pretty sure they used to be on Netflix. I don't remember because we don't have Netflix anymore, but that is available. And then another one that actually is available is like pottery. And these are just examples. Your child could pick something else that they want to do as their art. And I will go ahead and give a spoiler. We're going to be looking next week at fabric arts, textile arts. So this does not cover any of that, and I'll show you why next week. Some other ones it doesn't come, that'll be later because I'm not going to be able to do many more for a while. We'll eventually get to like graphic art design. That's not this either. This is like the hands-on art that doesn't require fabric. Once you have all of your foundational classes and your child knows what they want to do for their art, like specifically, like this one just gives the foundation. This one's going to be the specific art class that they want to take. Then you're going to move on to art history. I also wait for them to be a little older for this class because the maturity level with this class. But this class, if you've seen our music video of music electives, this is going to be very, very similar. So, for art history, things that you can do for this study, okay? And this is super fun. I love planning this class with people. Number one is visit art museums. I know in the greater Knoxville area, you can visit the Knoxville Museum of Art for free. And you can take your child to go see art for free. In Chattanooga, there is an art museum that you have to pay to go in, but there's art sculptures for free outside. And there's also a bridge that you can cross and walk across. It's like an old antique bridge that you can also walk across to get there. And then like on the other side of it, there's a park with an indoor carousel. Really cool. So like there's art places you can do for free. Oh, also in Chattanooga, and sorry about the loud truck going down the highway. Also in Chattanooga, there is a sculpture park. Like there's giant 30-foot sculptures that are in this park that you can go and visit. And there's information about those as well. So you can go and visit art places in real time, whatever your city has available. If not, you could also do some virtual ones. I know the Louvre has virtual touring that you can do of it. You can find all kinds of free videos on YouTube and things. The next step that you're going to do after adding art museums, which also adds field trips, because I don't think high schoolers have enough field trips. I really don't, because I think a lot of people think like, oh, little kids need field trips. High schoolers need field trips too. They need those social interactions, and they also need to be able to just go out and experience the real world with your family. So the next thing on here is make a timeline of artists. We talked about this last time. You can take like an accordion style piece of paper, or you can make individual posters. You can either attach it to a wall or put it in a binder, and just pick a number of artists that you want to do, which is actually my next point. So you spread the artist out. So you get to decide as the parent, what do you want to do? Do you want to do an artist every single week, or is that too much? You could do every other week. You could do once a month. I wouldn't recommend less than once a month. But take those artists and say, how many artists can I cover, and which ones am I specifically interested in for the amount of time that we have to teach this class, depending on your school year. Most school year, or in Tennessee, the school year technically has to be 180 days. But also during those 180 days, you may also have art days where like you're doing hands-on art or going to museums while traveling and things like that, and I totally get that. Once you have spread those artists out, Then you're going to be quizzing your child or children, because you can do this for multiple children at the same time, at the end of whatever your given time frame is, by showing a piece. Like what one mom recommended in the book, Gail Graham's book, How to Homeschool, what she recommended, and I'm not going to tell you everything in her book because I want you to go purchase it. It's a very great book if you're just starting homeschooling, and if you're interested in unit study style where you all sit down together and study the same classes for like science, art, music, history, those classes. But she talks about when she did art history, they would buy a postcard every time they went to a museum, and then their quiz for the end of that time frame would be you had to name the artist, the piece, and when it was created. Bonus points for your AP students. Like my AP students love extra research. They really do. Give the time frame the artist lived, art styles, talk more about the city that they were born in, things like that. They can add those extra information in there as kind of like bonus classes for this class. So now you've got your foundational classes up here. Now you have finished your history class. For year 4, we're going to move on to either, you get to choose, art appreciation or a specialty history class with emphasis on art. For AP students who needed more help with something and they're really, really art-minded, I would highly recommend the specialty history class. Now, if you have students who love doing summer credits to 1, help get credits out of the way during the school year and have less classes during the school year, or 2, just really, really want art, or 3, like maybe you're working from home and you just need your students to be able to do some work while you're working, you could also take art appreciation and turn it into a summer class between their, like you could move these around and then turn this one into a summer class and then turn this one into their senior year class. And I'll also get to an alternative summer class here in a minute if your area has this available. I am going to hurry because my voice is trying to go out. If you are looking at art appreciation, here are some things that you will be studying for art appreciation. And these are things that I actually researched from actual art appreciation classes. You're going to be studying the forms, the techniques. There is some history included in it, but it's not all history. Like you could probably spend a month on each of these things that I'm mentioning here. You also have analysis, which is studying styles, learning how to know, like this is where you could study masters who know, oh, this piece right here is this old because it's this kind of stroke or this kind of paint, things like that. The next one on here is how art has transformed through history. And then the last one on here is art expression, and talk about how sometimes with art, you're looking at how they expressed it and how that could be different, how an artist's expression of a piece of painting could be different from another artist during that time. And to also show that art can be very individual with it, if they are more interested in doing the specialty history class instead. The specialty history classes that are my recommendation, there are others out there. For art, these are my recommendation, okay? You actually can do a Bible history class, and yes, you could do art with it. You could talk about the things that they talk about in the Bible. There's many times that you could spend months just studying the blueprints for the temple and the tabernacle and talk about the art of that and talk about like the pottery and the cloth and the curtains. And yes, I know I've already said we were going to talk about textile in another one, but there is art mentioned so many times in the Bible and God's creation of like how he wanted things made. God loves things that are beautiful and he loves art and he wants us to appreciate it as well. There's nothing wrong with adding some Bible history in there with an emphasis on art for the class. So the next one in here is ancient history. This one again is focused, like I said, these are focus classes. Ancient history, again, you may focus more on like medieval, no, not medieval, but like older times, like Old Testament times for your class. The next one on here, a little bit easier for art, would be European history. You're literally focused on Europe and Europe only through the timeline. The next one on here, I accidentally said a second ago, medieval history. And you're just focusing on that time frame, and I forgot the years. And like I used to be a medieval reenactor, and I still forgot what years that those cover. I think it covers up to 1600, basically. But like you are literally looking at the time frame of like knights and princesses most of the time with this. Renaissance, a little bit different. That's coming from like 1600 to probably 1800s until Victorian era, which that's not on here either, but that's also an option of like if you wanted to study Victorian era. The last one I put on here was cultural studies. How does art affect us in modern day? Like one of my favorite pieces is actually Rhapsody in Blue, and I forgot the name of the artist, but I love some of the like the musical pieces that have been written more recently, but I also still love the classics. I still love Ode to Joy. It's one of my favorites. So, like I said, there is an alternative summer class, and I'm just going to highlight all of this and do it at once, and we're going to just talk about it together. Alternative summer credit that you can look at is intern or apprentice. That looks really weird. I'm going to talk while I fix this. What is intern and apprentice? You're literally studying under a master. You are studying under somebody who knows what they're talking about. Now, the reason I put this on there as an alternative because this is not available to everybody in every area. But you could find somebody who loves sketching, drawing, somebody who's made illustrations for books. And you could spend a summer working with someone who makes art for a living, or you could look at some local art classes that are available during the summertime. For a school year, as long as you fill 150 hours, I think for a summer it's 75 credit hours, then you can still count it as a class, or you could take it as a senior year instead if you do have a local one. And that is it for today's video. I'm really excited about this art one because I love talking about like the art history and doing all the hands-on with it and the way that you teach with it, because it's not just read a book, do this, look at this picture in a book, ooh ah, now take a test. It's very much taught more in a hands-on style, and I love teaching in hands-on styles for my kids. That's it for today's video. Thank you to all our members for supporting this content and let us continue making videos. And thank you to every single one of you for liking, watching, positive comments, and subscribing. And we will see you next time when we talk about textile art.